Hey everybody, Massachusetts Prepper here. Today we're going to unbox the Panasonic Lumix GH5. Now this camera has been out for a while, so I'm not going to do a complete review of this camera, but I'm going to unbox it, show you what I got, tell you what it costs, all that good stuff, and some of the features on this camera. Let's get right to it. You pretty much get all your literature. Very nice packaging. Get your lens and sun reflector. Let's go ahead and pop this out. Now I ordered a package that came with the lens. Normally you buy this camera, you don't get a lens, it's the body only. This is a 12 to 60 with autofocus and power built-in stabilization. This is a very nice lens. This is the lens I was using in the video where I tested out the camera. This part just snaps right on, twists right on, has a button to release it, to take it back off. And you get that with this lens. Of course, you get a GH5 strap. You get a charger. I'm not real crazy about this charger because unlike some of the other ones where you got the flip up thing and you can plug it right in, this one you cannot. This one plugs in through a power cord. So you have to use a power cord, then plug it in. And they do provide you with the power cord as well. Of course, you get a battery. One battery. It's a good sized battery. The battery life on the camera is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's actually pretty good. And you get a USB, full-size USB cable that goes with the camera as well. And some other gadget here. I'll have to actually look in the instruction manual to see just what this thing is for. And what this thing is, it's actually the cable holder for the USB cable. Then we have the star of the show, which is the GH5. Okay everybody, so this is the GH5, and what I really like about this camera is the way your purchase is, but the purchase is also something I don't like about it. When you're holding it, the display button right here is in the way, but if you're holding this camera, your thumb is right on the display button, and as you can see, the display is changing, and I'm just, adjusting my grip a little bit, and it's causing my thumb to push on that button. That's a minor inconvenience. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it is just something to keep in mind. When you have this on a tripod or a GorillaPod or anything, the battery bay door can still be accessed. I like that. The batteries in the Lumix or in the GH5 they're good sized batteries. So, you know, I got quite a bit of battery life when I was using this in that test video that I did showing the 4K footage and all. I really like the display screen. However you're holding this, you can get a really good view, but I really like this screen. It's very versatile, lets you get a number of good angles. No matter where you're at, you can see what you're shooting. I like that. And the screen doesn't feel like it's just gonna pop off and break. It feels very sturdy. The memory card port has 2 slots, card 1 and card 2. Now you install both of these cards, and what I like about them is they're hot swappable. So when you got card 1 in and it fills up, it automatically goes to card 2 and starts recording. While it's recording on card 2, you can take card 1 out, dump all your footage, and then put card 1 back in, and when card 2's full, it will go back to recording on card 1 again. So these are hot swappable. Or you can set this up so it will record on both cards at the same time. That way you don't run the risk of having a corrupt SD card unless both of them goes corrupt at the same time. It will record the same footage on both cards. This way, if you get home and card 1 is corrupt, you put in card 2, and hopefully that footage is not corrupt on card 2. So it gives you a little bit of built-in protection. I don't know how many times I've shot some videos, came home, tried to upload the footage to my Mac, and found out that the card was corrupt and I couldn't do that. Now this is kind of weather resistant, so you don't have to be afraid if you're outside. Everything is built in such a way that, you know, you don't have to worry about a lot of water getting in it and ruining your camera. Now I would not suggest going and submerging it. I like the layout of most of the buttons. This has a nice little joystick on here that helps you with your menus. If I go into the menus here, just with the joystick, you can go through all your menus, you know, and choose what you want and all that good stuff. A lot of good stuff here. And this is a touch screen, so you can go through and use the touch screen capability as well if you don't want to use the joystick. And the screen is pretty responsive. You do have an optical viewfinder on this camera, and it works pretty well. You can set that, and this is a cool feature. If you're like me and you need glasses for some things, like reading, you can set everything up for your vision. So if somebody else grabs the camera and you have a pretty strong prescription on your glasses and they look through there, they'd be like, why is everything so fuzzy or out of focus? And it's because you have it set up for your vision and not theirs. All the buttons are very, you know, intuitive. You can use this button right here to get around in your menus as well. I like the layout on everything. It's, you know, just very easy. One thing I don't like about this camera is its autofocus. They just released a patch not too long ago, a couple months ago, and the patch has improved the autofocus, but it's still not perfect. Canon still outperforms it with autofocus. So if you're wanting to use this camera as a vlogging camera, there is some shortcomings there. I will be using this camera mostly for cinematic shots and B-roll footage and studio filming. Here you have a full-size HDMI and your USB. And here you have a dedicated headphone jack. If you want to hook a remote to it, you can hook a remote to it right there. And then right here, you have a dedicated microphone port. And all of these seal up nice. So again, you know, this camera is weather resistant. Now, this is a micro 4/3 camera, so it doesn't have that full 1-inch sensor. You can buy speed booster to attach on here, and then you can use, you know, like your Canon glass or whatever other glass that you have, just get a speed booster, you know, that's compatible with the lenses that you have. All in all, I really like the camera. It does shoot in Vlog. Only problem is you don't get it right out of the box. You have to purchase, you know, a box. You can't just go online to Panasonic and pay the $99 to get Vlog. You have to purchase the vlog, and then they send it to you, a code in a box, and you get an envelope like this. There's a card in here with the actual code. They should have took a note out of Sony's book and give you a vlog for free. By purchasing this through B&H Photo, as the set, I got the camera body, the lens, I bought an extra battery, and I got the vlog free. I didn't have to pay the extra $100. What I think about this camera is it's going to be phenomenal for shooting in the studio. You know, I can use my phone as a remote for it, put everything together, get my focus points set. I don't have to worry about the autofocus at all while I'm filming in the studio. When I'm shooting B-roll footage, you know, I'm not going to be relying on autofocus anyway. I'm going to be using manual focus. That's really not going to impact me that much by not having a great autofocus. Hopefully in the future, Panasonic will release more firmware updates that really dial in the autofocus, and this is going to be a phenomenal camera. So if you're looking at this for a vlogging camera instead of something like an 80D or, you know, another big bodied camera like that, then I would stay away from this right now just because the autofocus isn't great. So a bunch of people are using it as a vlogging camera, and they've, you know, played with the settings and they've got it really close, but you still see that out of focus video every now and then. So I opted to purchase these Lexar Professional 128 gigabytes, 150 megabytes per second cards. It's a 2-pack. I paid $167 for it, but I'll be able to record my 4K footage. That's what it's designed for, is 4K. It's a class 10 card, so it's going to handle that 4K footage and give me 2 cards to record on. And I picked that up separately from the package. So there you have it, guys. This is the GH5 Lumix from Panasonic. I think it's a fantastic camera. It's probably not for everybody at its price point, but you know, if you're looking for a consumer grade camera that shoots 4K with all the features, you know, 4K 60 frames a second, you're not finding that on any other cameras right now until you get up to something like the 1DX from Canon, which is a, you know, $5,000 camera. That's really, you know, you're stepping into the high end of the consumer grade, almost into the professional grade cameras. This at, you know, just under $3,000, and all the features that it packs. I could do a full review on it, but there's like 1,000 videos out there of this camera because it's been out for almost a year now. So there is a lot of reviews that are probably a lot better at explaining all the functions of this camera that I can't explain. This is the Panasonic Lumix GH5. Will you survive whatever comes your way? I sure hope so. This is the Massachusetts Prepper saying, take care all.